Hello everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel. I'm Jatin Vats, a first year medical student pursuing my MBBS from European University, Georgia. So in this video, I'm going to talk about the glycolysis, which is an important glucose metabolism pathway, and also about the deficiency of pyruvate kinase and glucose 6 phosphatase. So before heading towards our main topic, the glycolysis, I would like to tell you that our body works in three main states: the fed state, the fasting and the starvation. What are these three states and what are the differences between them? We will see here. So first we have our fed state. Fed state. Then we have our fasting. Then we have our starvation. So what is fed state? Fed state is like about 2 hours after the meal. For example, I have taken my food at 2 p.m. in the afternoon. So around 4:30 or 5 p.m. or you can say till 4:30 or 5 p.m. in the evening, my body is in fed state. So this is 2 hours after the meal. Okay. Now what is my fasting? My fasting is like when I haven't my food for around 12 to 18 hours, the body is in fasting. As you know, many of your family members do fasting on special occasions. So fasting is like when the body doesn't get food for around 12 to 18 hours, the body goes into the fasting state. So this is our 12 to 18 hours without food. Okay. What is a starvation? Starvation is prolonged fasting. Prolonged fasting means if my body is not getting food above than 18 hours. For example, you can say around 2 days or 3 days. So between 2 and 3 days, the body shift its pathway from fasting to starvation. So my starvation is without food for 2 to 3 days. Okay, so these are the differences between these three states. Now I would also like to tell you that the main content or the main raw material for energy is glucose, or you can say the blood glucose. So what is the sources of blood glucose in these three states? Like if my body is in fed state, what will be its source? When my body is in fasting, what will be the blood glucose source? And if my body is in starvation, what will be the blood glucose source? So we will say here in fed state, the blood glucose source is mainly carbohydrates. What is it? Carbohydrates. Carbohydrates. It is present mainly in potatoes or chips, you can say. In fasting, my blood glucose source will be fats. Fats. All the oily food you eat or the oily things you eat, that comes in fat. In starvation, the source of my blood glucose from which I will be getting my energy will be proteins. Okay, so these are the three states in which our body works: the fed state, the fasting and the starvation. In fed state, the blood glucose source of blood glucose is carbohydrate. In fasting, the source of blood glucose is fat. In starvation, the source of blood glucose is protein. Okay, apart from these three states, there are two types of processes which occurs in our body, mainly anabolic and catabolic. What are these processes and what are the differences between them? Let's see here. I will draw that anabolic and catabolic with a red marker. Okay, so let's erase all this. So we have our anabolic and you can differentiate catabolic. Okay, anabolic and catabolic. So what are the differences between these two processes? Let me tell you that all the processes which are going under our body will be categorized on the basis of these two, whether it is anabolic, whether it is catabolic. So anabolic refers to synthesis of something. When we synthesize, when we produce something, So the process is known as anabolic. The catabolic refers to degradation or disintegration of something, degradation, or you can say simply breakdown. When you break down something, the process is known as catabolic. Okay. Now in anabolic, the processes following anabolic will form complex molecules, complex molecules from simple ones, from simple ones. Okay, in the anabolic processes or pathways which are following anabolic processes will form complex molecules from simple ones. But in catabolic, the catabolic pathway will form simple molecules from complex ones, from complex ones. Okay, it will form the simple molecules from the complex one. It is a vice versa. Okay, the third point is it stores energy, it stores energy. The catabolic anabolic pathway, it stores energy. Which one? The anabolic pathway. Whereas the catabolic pathway, it releases the energy, it releases the energy. Okay, so this is the difference between the anabolic pathway and the catabolic pathway. This is the all basic of biochemistry. So now we will talk about the glycolysis. That is, what is glycolysis? The glycolysis is also known as EMP pathway, that is Embedon-Maryanov-Parnas pathway, given by the scientist. That's why it is known as EMP pathway. The glycolysis is the series of chemical reaction in which glucose is converted into pyruvate or lactate with the production of ATP. Approximately there are 10 chemical reactions which I have written on the board. So before going to that part, I will like to tell you the silent features of glycolysis, means where glycolysis is happening and why it is happening. So the glycolysis is happening in all type of tissues, where it is eukaryotic cells or prokaryotic cells, and the enzyme used in this pathway is present in the cytosome of the cell. So if glycolysis is happening in the presence of oxygen, it is known as aerobic glycolysis, and if it's happening in the absence of oxygen, it is anaerobic glycolysis. So the pyruvate, as I told you, the glucose will convert it into pyruvate or lactate. We have two products, pyruvate or lactate. If pyruvate is formed, that is, it is our aerobic glycolysis, and if lactate is formed, it is anaerobic glycolysis. Okay, glycolysis is also important in those tissues or in those cells where mitochondria lacks. For example, erythrocytes are RBC, red blood cells, are cornea of eye and retina of our eye. So here the major pathway is glycolysis, because they lack mitochondria. We know that the glycolysis is a catabolic pathway, and as I told you before, the catabolic pathway occurs in the cytoplasm of the cells, whereas the anabolic pathway occurs in the mitochondria. So as I told you, glycolysis is the conversion of glucose to pyruvate or lactate with the production of ATP. There are 10 steps of chemical reactions of the glycolysis. We will discuss each one of them one by one. Before going to that part, I want to tell you that we will study glycolysis and understand the glycolysis with the help of business model. What's the business model? It says that if you want to earn something, you have to invest in it first. So same goes with the glycolysis. If we want to produce energy, we have to invest energy. Okay, see, from glucose to fructose 1,6 bisphosphate, this is our energy investment phase. From fructose 1,6 bisphosphate to pyruvate, this is our energy producing phase. We are investing something, we are getting something. Okay, now what is my raw material for glycolysis? The glucose. The glucose molecule is the raw material, and this glucose molecule is converted into glucose 6-phosphate. Glucose 6-phosphate by the enzyme hexokinase and glucokinase. By these two enzymes, because they depends upon the situation, location where the glycolysis is happening. If it's happening in the cytoplasm muscle cells, the hexokinase will come into the play. If it's happening in the cytoplasm of liver cell, the glucokinase will come into the play. So it depends upon the location. I have my glucose that is converted into glucose 6-phosphate. Here the one molecule of ATP will be used. I mean, I have invested my first molecule of ATP in the first step only to produce some ATPs in the later stages. So we will understand this by this method. We have the glucose molecule. So how the normal glucose molecule looks like? It's look like this. This is my first carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, fifth carbon, and sixth carbon. This is my OH, H, OH, H, H, OH, OH, H, CH2, OH. Okay, so this is my normal glucose molecule. This molecule till now is resembling this glucose. So these are same thing. I have to make glucose to glucose 6-phosphate. I have to make some changes. For example, आप घर में रोटी बनाते हो, you to make the roti you add some water, you do some physical exercise and all to make a perfect roti. So I have also make some changes in this glucose molecule to form glucose 6-phosphate. What changes? What should I do? I have the glucose molecule. See, these are the same glucose molecule. What I have to do is 6-phosphate. Means I have to add a phosphate group, or I have to do phosphorylation of glucose, means adding a phosphate group at 6th carbon position. Till now this molecule is glucose. If I add the phosphate group at the 6th carbon, now this molecule resemble glucose 6-phosphate. Okay, this molecule resemble glucose 6-phosphate because I've added a phosphate group at the 6th position. Okay, ATP is used in this step. Hexokinase if it's a muscle cell, glucokinase if it's a liver cell. Understand? Glucose 6-phosphate I have to make fructose 6-phosphate. Don't you think they both are brothers? Ram, Sham, glucose 6-phosphate, fructose 6-phosphate, resembling their names. Yes, they both are brothers. Means in the chemistry language you can say they both are the isomers. They are interchangeable. So fructose glucose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 6-phosphate by the enzyme phosphohexose isomerase. Phosphohexose isomerase. See, it's a request to all the viewers or the medical students or any field of the student. Please do not cram the things. Understand the basics, then go for the higher things. I have to also understand these things. तभी मैं इतना आगे कर पा रहा हूँ. So you also have to understand the basics. Now this is my glucose 6-phosphate. I have to make fructose 6-phosphate from it. So what will I do? These both are the isomers, means they have the same structures. They are the same structures. So but see, I have to draw this. First carbon, second carbon, third carbon, fourth carbon, fourth carbon, fifth carbon, and sixth carbon. So what I will do is the glucose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 6-phosphate. I have to make first glucose 6-phosphate. OH, H, OH, H, OH, H, OH, H, OH, CH2, OH. So I have this is my glucose 6-phosphate. If I add the phosphorus group at here, but I have to make fructose 6-phosphate. Isomers is like they are the twins. Like if someone has a you can say a birthmark over here, the same brother or the same sister will have birthmark over here. Means they look like same, but the birthmark changes from right to left. Same goes with the hair. I am a glucose 6-phosphate, but this CH2OH will not be here. This phosphorus will not be here. The phosphorus will be here. The CH2OH will be here. So you can compare these two molecules. CH2OH was here, but in this case at this place the phosphorus comes. Here the phosphorus was there in this molecule, but here the CH2OH comes. Rest of the thing is same. It has two legs, it has two arms, it has everything. The only change is of the birthmark. Remember? So this is my fructose 6-phosphate. Now the fructose 6-phosphate I have will convert into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Means that's complicating, but we don't want to make complicated. We have to understand it. Fructose 6-phosphate is converted into fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Please Do not see these enzyme, this ATP and all. Just see what we have, what we have to make. Find out the common things in it. Fructose 6 phosphate, fructose 6 phosphate. If I remove one and bis, the same molecule is this. So what I have to do is I have to add bisphosphate, means I have to add 2 phosphate. 2 phosphate. Position it is given at 6th carbon position and at the 1st carbon position. This is my fructose. This is my fructose 6 phosphate. Okay. So I have my phosphate group at the 6th carbon position, but I don't have at the 1st carbon position. So I have to make some changes. The change I made is I make this. I add one phosphate group at the 1st carbon. I already had a phosphate group at the 6th carbon. How many phosphate I have? 2. Bisphosphate, where I have at 1 position and 6th position, fructose 6 phosphate. Last molecule is the fructose. So I have made my fructose 6 bisphosphate by fructose 6 phosphate. It's simple. But you have to remember the enzyme. Which enzyme is catalyzing this step? This is the phosphofructokinase or the PFK or the PFK first. This is the regulatory step or the regulatory enzyme of the glycolysis. It will decide the glycolysis pathway will be slow or the glycolysis pathway will be faster depending upon the physiological activity of the cell. So this is the most important enzyme. I have invested my 1 molecule of ATP in the first step, but in this step also I am investing 1 molecule of ATP. I am very kind. I have invested 2 molecules of ATP till now. Okay. I have my fructose 1,6 bisphosphate. Now the fructose 1,6 bisphosphate will convert into 2 compounds. The compound is dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Dihydroxyacetone phosphate and glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate by the enzyme aldolase. So as I told you, Ram Sham, Sita Gita, remember by this. They were the brothers, they are the sisters. Ram Sham Gita Sita means they both are also the isomers, and isomers we are know they are structurally same, but they have the difference between their birthmark. One have the birthmark on right side, another will have the birthmark on the left side. Same goes with it. So dihydroxyacetone phosphate will convert into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. Interchange will be there by the enzyme phosphotriose isomerase. They will interchange into this, because if we don't interchange into this, the process occurring with the glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate same goes with the dihydroxyacetone phosphate, but we don't want to make the process complex. Make it simple. Dihydroxyacetone phosphate will interchange into glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate by the enzyme phosphotriose isomerase, but they both are the isomers. Clear? Now energy investment phase is over. Investment, we don't want to make a more investment. Yes, now we will earn money. Glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, from here the earning process will start, the producing process will start. The glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate will convert into the pyruvate, but not directly. We have to take some small steps. We can't jump. If you will jump a long step, it will hurt you. If you take a shorter step, it will not hurt you. It will take time, but it will save for you. So this glycolysis teaches us this also. So glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate will convert into 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate. I would like to tell you that this 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, high energy compound. High energy compound means the gola bomb of the glycolysis. You can remember by this 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate is the high energy compound, and from where it is getting glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate by the enzyme glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. I have same. I add dehydrogenase. Dehydrogenase means removal of hydrogen. Dehydro, not dihydro. Di and D have separate meaning. Dehydrogenase. Okay, so the enzyme is glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate. The substrate about glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate, the enzyme becomes glyceraldehyde 3-phosphate dehydrogenase, which will form 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, which is a high energy compound or the gola bomb of glycolysis. Okay, now not only 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate will be produced, one more molecule will be produced, that is NADH. NADH stands for nicotinamide adenine dinucleotide dehydrogenase. Okay, nicotinamide dinucleotide dehydrogenase, NADH. One more thing I want to tell you, this is the most complicated and confusing thing. I still get confused in this, but as you practice more and more question, you will be master in that. From glucose to glycerylate 3-phosphate, the process will occur once only. It will occurs in the once. But from glycerylate 3-phosphate to pyruvate, not directly from this, this is this again cycle. The process will occur twice, not once. If the process is occurring twice, the product will also be the twice. If I am studying 2 hours and if I double the dose of the study, 2 plus 2 hours, the homework will be also be less, means I am getting more product if I am adding more and hours. So glycerylate 3-phosphate to pyruvate, the process will occur twice. So process will occur twice, the product will also be the twice. Here what I am forming, NADH molecule. If the process is occurring once only, how many NADH molecules should be formed? One NADH molecule. But no, this is glycolysis, this is a magic, this is biochemistry. So you have to ready for the exceptions. So glycerylate 3-phosphate to pyruvate cycle will be happening twice. So how many NADH molecule will be formed? One? No, 2 molecules of NADH will be formed. So 1 NADH molecule is equals to 2.5 ATP. How many ATP will be equals to 2 NADH molecule? 2 NADH molecules will equals to 2 into 2.5, that is equals to 5 ATP. But this condition, this whole process will only occur if it's a aerobic glycolysis, means it is happening in the presence of oxygen. If it's happening in the presence of oxygen, this NADH will goes into the ETC, electron transport change, which occurs in the mitochondria. If it's occurring in the mitochondria, it is an anabolic process. Okay, so this NADH molecule, if it's a aerobic glycolysis, will goes into ETC to form 5 ATP molecules. Okay, I have formed my 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, the high energy compound of the glycolysis. Now from 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, I will be producing 3-phosphoglycerate, and this process is catalyzed by the enzyme phosphoglycerate kinase. I want to tell you one thing, where the word kinase come with some enzyme, that means it will show substrate level phosphorylation. It will show substrate level phosphorylation. So this step is the substrate level phosphorylation, and I am investing 2 molecules of ATP but didn't get anything. I have got, I means you can understand by this, I have spent 10 rupees but I have get my 1 rupee. You can understand by this. So I am very fed up, I have to get more and more. So my first molecule of ATP I have invested, I am getting here. While converting 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate to 3-phosphoglycerate, I am getting a molecule of ATP, means I am producing this. This time I am not investing, I am producing this molecule, and this step is the substrate level phosphorylation. So examiner can ask you, which step of the glycolysis is the substrate level phosphorylation? The substrate level phosphorylation step is while converting 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate to 3-phosphoglycerate. One more step will also come of the substrate level phosphorylation, we will see further. Now the 3-phosphoglycerate is produced. From 3-phosphoglycerate I have produced 2-phosphoglycerate. What I have done, I have reduced the phosphate group from 3 to 2. So this 3-phosphoglycerate is reduced to 2-phosphoglycerate by the enzyme phosphoglycerate mutase. Mutase mean to mute something, you have to delete something from something, so you have to use this enzyme phosphoglycerate mutase from 3-phosphoglycerate to 2-phosphoglycerate. Now I have my 2-phosphoglycerate. From this 2-phosphoglycerate I will be having or producing my phosphophenol pyruvate or PEP, not Pepsi, phosphophenol pyruvate or PEP by the enzyme anolase. There are some characteristics of this enzyme anolase. First of all, it is inhibited by sodium fluoride fluoride. You have to remember this. Which enzyme is inhibited by whom? So enolase is inhibited by sodium and fluoride. So question comes, if you want to test the correct measurement of the blood glucose level in the laboratory, so what should you add in the blood sample? You will add fluoride in the blood sample. Why? Because it will inhibit enolase. If it's inhibiting the enolase, the glycolysis process will not happen, because enolase नहीं होगा तो PAP will be not formed. So if PAP is not formed, the energy will not be produced, and you can measure the correct amount of blood glucose level in the patient's sample. Okay, one more thing about the enzyme, and it's inhibited by, you know, this GA3P dehydrogenase glycerol 3 phosphate dehydrogenase, it is also inhibited by some compound, that is arsenate and iodoacetate. So this GA3P dehydrogenase is also inhibited by arsenate and iodoacetate. Don't confuse. If it's written arsenite in place of its I, then it's not will be GA3P. It will be something else. We will discuss further. But arsenate and iodoacetate will inhibit GA3P dehydrogenase. Now I have my phosphophenol pyruvate formed from 2-phosphoroglycerate by the enzyme enolase, which is inhibited by Na and fluoride. Okay. This enzyme also requires Mn2 plus and Mg2 plus, manganese and magnesium. This enzyme also requires this. I have my phosphophenol pyruvate and PAP. From phosphophenol pyruvate, I will be getting my pyruvate by the enzyme pyruvate kinase. And as I told you, where the word kinase come, understand it's a substrate level phosphorylation. Okay, substrate level phosphorylation. So phosphophenol pyruvate will convert it into pyruvate by the pyruvate kinase, and it is a substrate level phosphorylation. Here I am getting one more thing, that is ATP. I have invested ATP. So I should get ATP also, na? So 5 ATPs I was getting from NADH if it's aerobic condition. If it's anaerobic condition, I will discuss later. If it's aerobic condition, I am getting 5 ATP. From here also, if ATP is produced, but as I told you, from glycerol 3 phosphate to pyruvate, the process is occurring twice. So how many ATPs will be produced from here? 2 ATPs. It doesn't depend whether it's aerobic or anaerobic. These 2 ATP will be always there, and hence here also 2 ATP, because it's occurring twice. So these 2 will be there, but this 5 ATP will depend if it's aerobic, if it's anaerobic. If it's aerobic, this 5 will be there. If it's anaerobic, we will see here. So my pyruvate is formed from phosphophenol pyruvate by the pyruvate kinase enzyme. Okay? Now this was tell about the aerobic glycolysis. If it's anaerobic condition means absence of oxygen is there. What will be happening? This pyruvate is converted into lactate. By the enzyme lactate dehydrogenase. Okay, but this is not sufficient. We need one more thing also. The pyruvate is converted into lactate by the enzyme lactate dehydrogenase. Not true. We also need one. I told you this NADH molecule will be formed. If it's aerobic glycolysis, it will go into the ETC of the mitochondria to form 5 ATP. If it's anaerobic glycolysis, this will not go into the ATP. Where it will go? It will be used, or it will help in conversion of pyruvate to lactate by the enzyme lactate dehydrogenase, and it itself get reduced to NADH to NAD plus. Okay, so its role, the fate of NADH is, if it's aerobic condition, it will be used in ETC to form 5 ATP. If it's an anaerobic condition, it will use to or help in conversion of pyruvate to lactate by the enzyme lactate dehydrogenase, and itself it will get reduced to NADH and NAD plus. It is the fate of the NADH, and this NAD plus will again be used by this glycerol 3 phosphate to form 1,3-bisphosphoglycerate, the Golgi bomb of the glycolysis. And again this cycle will continue and continue and continue till your last breath. Okay, so have I covered everything? Yeah, I have covered everything. One thing I want to cover is, you know, this phosphofructokinase. This phosphofructokinase is the regulatory enzyme or the regulatory step of the glycolysis. It has allosteric activators. Allosteric means allosteric activators or allosteric inhibitor, means there are some compounds which are activating it, there are some compounds which are inhibiting it. So we will see about it. I have my, here I am doing this, I have my PFK first. Okay, so what are its inhibitors? First talk about the inhibitors. The inhibitors are citrate, ATP and H plus, and activators are fructose. See, here I have fructose 1,6-bisphosphate. Here I will be having fructose from 1,6-bisphosphate, it will be 2,6-bisphosphate. This is the activator of the PFK first, and this fructose 2,6-bisphosphate I will be discussing in the further video. Second is the ADP, adenosine diphosphate, and third one is the AMP, adenosine monophosphate. These are the activators and inhibitors of the PFK first. Inhibitors are the citrate, ATP and H plus. Activators are the fructose 2,6-bisphosphatase, ADP and AMP. Please do not mind my handwriting, as I am a medical student and I can't write. This is my best handwriting. When I will show you my notes, you can't remember anything. So this was all about the PFK first. Now, so there are 4 inhibitors of the overall glycolysis process. Those 4 are, first I have told you, the iodoacetate and the arsenate of this Ga3p dehydrogenase. Then I have sodium fluoride. Two of them are here, and sodium fluoride, one of them is here, which was inhibiting enolase enzyme. One is the here, which will inhibit the lactate dehydrogenase, and this compound will be, which will inhibit the lactate dehydrogenase, oxamate, not oxalate, it will be oxamate. So these are the inhibitors of the overall glycolysis. So if we see the energetics of the glycolysis, means if we see the balance sheet, commerce वालों देखते रहना, if we see the energetics of the glycolysis, means how much energy we are investing, how much energy we are getting, what is the loss, what is the profit. So it depends upon the process. I should write by this. If it's a aerobic glycolysis, two criteria there: ATP used, ATP produced, and ATP produced. We have to see these 2 things and we will get our energetics. First of all, if it's aerobic glycolysis, means pyruvate is not converting into the lactate. So what are the ATP used? We are using or investing the ATP in the first step, 1 ATP molecule, total 2 ATP molecule. I don't think so in any other process or this step we are using ATP. So how many ATP is used? 2 ATP we are using and investing. How many ATP we are producing? Remember, from glycerol 3-phosphate to pyruvate, if it's aerobic glycolysis or anaerobic, it doesn't matter, the process will occur twice. We are getting, if it's aerobic glycolysis, the NADH will go to ETC and produce 5 ATP. We have 5. This ATP molecule, if it's happening twice, from 1 there will be 2 ATP molecule produced. Here also the 2 ATP molecule will produced. So how many total ATP is produced in aerobic glycolysis. 5 plus 2 plus 2 is equals to 9 ATP. 9 ATP. But we have invested or used 2 ATP, so the net gain or the net profit of the ATP is 9 minus 2 is equals to 7 ATP if it's a aerobic glycolysis. If it's a aerobic glycolysis. What about the anaerobic glycolysis? Anaerobic glycolysis we will see here. If it's a anaerobic glycolysis means if it's happening in the absence of oxygen, so what will be the energetics? So the energetics will be, how many ATP used? 1, 2. In any other step I don't think so we are using an ATP. So how many ATP is used? 2 ATP is used. 2 ATP is used or 2 ATP is invested. How many ATP produced? Now from again glycerylate 3-phosphate to lactate, we will not talk about the pyruvate because this is the anaerobic glycolysis and we know the end product of anaerobic glycolysis is lactate. So how many ATP is produced from glycerylate phosphate to lactate? If it's an aerobic glycolysis, this NADH will not go into the ETC, so 0 ATP produced from this NADH, but this ATP will be there. So this ATP and this ATP will be there, but this NADH molecule will not go into the ETC to produce 5 ATP. So we have a loss of 5 ATP. Oh no, shit, I am in debt. This 5 ATP will not be there, but I am having these 2 ATP and this 2 ATP. So total ATP produced is 2 plus 2 is equals to 4. If we see the net gain of the ATP is equals to 4 we produced and we used 2. So it is equals to 2 ATP. So the net gain of ATP in anaerobic glycolysis is 2 ATP, whereas the net gain of ATP in aerobic glycolysis was 7 ATP. Okay. For additional information, you can also remember the energetics from glycogen. From glycogen, how many ATPs we will be there. I will tell you the energetics of glycogen, how to calculate and all in the glycogen metabolism. But you can remember 3 ATP are produced from glycogen metabolism. Okay. Aerobic 7 ATP, anaerobic 2 ATP net gain. Okay, we have done with the energetic. Now we will talk about the enzyme deficiency. 2 enzyme deficiency, out of which the one enzyme we have discussed, the pyruvate kinase in the in the glycolysis, whereas the second one is the glucose 6-phosphatase. First we will talk about the pyruvate kinase. Pyruvate kinase deficiency, it is the second most common deficiency in India, or you can say it requires potassium more than magnesium. It requires potassium more than magnesium. So in pyruvate kinase deficiency, hemolysis will occur. How this hemolysis will occur in the pyruvate kinase deficiency? Let's see here. If there is a pyruvate kinase deficiency, there will be no glycolysis. If there is no glycolysis, no ATP will be produced. If there is no ATP produced, the sodium potassium ATPase pump will get reduced or its activity will get affected, which will lead to hemolysis. Okay. What about the glucose 6-phosphate deficiency? It is the first most common enzyme deficiency. It is inherited sex-linked disorder, means it's the deficiency of this enzyme. Genes are present on the X chromosome, hence the males are affected more than the females because the genes are present on the X chromosome. How hemolysis occur in this G6PD deficiency? If there is a G6PD deficiency in RBC or the erythrocytes, the production of NADPH will be reduced because this G6PD enzyme we will study in the HMP, and we know HMP is associated with production of two things, NADPH and ribose 5-phosphate. If G6PD deficiency is there, NADPH will get reduced or its amount will get reduced. If NADPH get reduced, the glutathione also will get reduced. If glutathione gets reduced, the amount of H2O2 methemoglobin peroxide will be increased in the cell membrane of erythrocytes or the RBC, which leading to the hemolysis. So this was all about glycolysis. If you like the video, please do support the channel because your efforts are my motivation. Thanks for watching the video.